Welcome back, my little recusants, to another episode of our Pokemon Yellow episodic Nuzlocke. We have arrived in Fuchsia City finally, and as Roxas walks around, he notices that Fuchsia is actually kind of a bit of a Pokemon reserve. They have pens where they look after and treat rare Pokemon for study. And he hears that there's basically a surfing master that is deep within the Safari Zone that should be able to allow Sora to get over his hydrophobia. Allow Roxas to get over his hydrophobia. And as he just ventures around, he notices a big kind of spectacle around the corner where they have managed to reanimate a Kabuto from the Dome fossil. And he recalls actually seeing a similar fossil in Mount Moon with that super nerd that gave him the Helix fossil. So, really determined to find a way to Cinnabar, he steps forward into the Safari Zone to find out. Surveying the Safari Zone. On entering, Roxas gives $500 and given 30 Safari Balls to basically explore the wilds of Fuchsia City, where they have rare Pokemon like Chansey and Kangaskhan and a lot of other Pokemon wandering around this area. Given that we are allowing for duplicates claws for various encounters, we are able to basically explore this area and hopefully get a good encounter that isn't just, Nidoran or, Nidorina or whatever. And our encounter is Cubone. So we have all of the Lavender Town encounters available. And as Roxas encroaches on this Pokemon, he throws ball after ball. Again, his Haunter just feeling really sad for all the Cubones that were orphaned, and clearly they've all now been put into environmental protection by Mr. Fuji and the other residents of Lavender Town. So this area does have Cubone now being looked after by various other Marowaks, taking in these orphaned Pokemon. But with enough determination, Roxas is able to capture Cubone. Cubone, the lonely Pokemon, wears the skull of its deceased mother. Its cries echo inside the skull and comes out as a sad melody. After listening to Dexter's further explanation about how they look to the moon and cry, Roxas names Cubone Luna because of this. And then progressing deeper across the Safari Zone, he sees herds of Tauros galloping through the plains. He sees rare Pokemon like Scyther cutting down large swaths of the tall grass. He sees Kangaskhan and Rhyhorn running through the plains as well. But Roxas, determined to find the Surf Master, treks deeper and deeper into the safari, panning through area after area in search of a way to cross the waters. And on seeing the amazing that was a mistake on my part. I didn't mean to throw that, so luckily it didn't catch, but just I just was pressing A and then all of a sudden it was like pressed A on throw Safari Ball, which was my bad. If we had have caught it by accident, I would have just released it from the PC. That wouldn't have been a legitimate encounter. But you do get lots of nice things like full restores and TMs and stuff, so it's definitely worth even a repeat visit just to get all the items. Kangaskhan would have been a really strong normal type, and I'm just even thinking back to the Pokemon Pocket games, Kangaskhan is so good as an early game wall, just to build up your other Pokemon, and it's colorless so it can go in any deck as well, so yeah, just reminiscing about that. But it's unfortunate with Roxas' hydrophobia we can't get any water encounters. I would have basically tried for a Dratini encounter. That would have been really awesome if I could have gotten that, but this is where our episodic Nuzlocke is giving our main character a bit more of a story, a bit more of a backstory, a bit more of a unique personality, and just allowing us to have these extra stipulations. But we do eventually make it to the Surf Master, and he basically explains and goes through kind of, I suppose, how to kind of stay above water, basic, survival skills in the water, and even training with Roxas out by the water area, by his home. He is able then to basically ride on Splishy and allow him to ferry him across the water, because he's fully aware that once he does get there, his Pidgeot will be able to fly him anywhere he wants to go. So it's just getting over that initial fear of the water crossing is all he needs. But while he's there, he does mention that he noticed a set of dentures, pure gold, and he basically says that it was the wardens. He must have dropped them or fallen out of his mouth when running away from Pokemon in the safari. So just bring them back to him, and he should be very, very grateful. And he believes that he actually has the strength HM, allowing you to move powerful boulders, but you will need the 4th gym badge, the rainbow badge, to do so. And Roxas, on flashing his 4 gym badges already, he basically teaches strength and surf to Splishy, who is basically going to be the powerhouse of the group. And bite and tackle, there's no real need for them at this stage of our Nuzlocke journey. So 2 very powerful moves, one physical, one water. Can't look at that in a bad way. They're both very useful. And with the rare candy, Roxas ventures to the outskirts of Fuchsia and ends up seeing a group of bird catchers just flying around with their flying types. And what's really interesting is that the bird keepers sprites, they actually have like a random bird just on their arm. Like, they didn't even try to like make it look a bit like a Pidgey, which is just quite funny. It's like, what's that bird? What is that animal? That's like, and also the fact that like they're not bird types, they're flying type Pokemon, but we just accept that they're birds because their trainer name is Bird Keeper, But yeah, Peekaboo getting some handy experience there, so not a problem at all. And as I say, they're at least at a stage where we're kind of well able for the trainers around here. But this is what drives me a little bit annoyed with the level curve, because like that, we're just outside Fuchsia City, and there is Pokemon level 26 or what have you, and there's just absolutely no way that you would then imagine within the next gym, like stepping foot into the next gym, you might think, oh, they'll be like in their 30s, and it's like, no, they're actually in their 50s. Just get used to that. And I know, obviously, when you're not doing a Nuzlocke challenge, you can kind of, go in, have a couple of feints, and be like, oh, right, I'll just, reset. Go back to the Pokemon Center and just try again. But it's just like, no, sorry, actually, we're just having a bit of an issue here with half my team now being dead, and I'm going to have to just figure this out for myself now. But these kind of moves are what make Spearow and Rattata and all of those mad scary, because, it's the most common Pokemon. Bellsprout, Rattata, Coughing, Voltorb, you can just have horrible wrap and poison combos. You can have horrible just fury attack getting a crit and then critting every single time and getting 5 crits in a row. It's just scary. Like they you know, unless you are so over leveled, which we are about to be come next episode. Yeah, it's just a bit of a mess, like. But Roxas is taking down all of these flying Pokemon with ease. There is absolutely no stress on his capabilities as a trainer. And the bird keepers even say that he should travel over to Johto and train under the master flying type specialist, Falkner, as his abilities are known far and wide, and he is known to have tamed Pidgeots and, you know, Dodrios, and even some skeptics ponder if he's actually even encountered the legendary birds of Kanto. And on hearing this, Roxas does kind of perk up and ask a bit more about them. They do say that they believe that the big electrical interference that's been happening in the Dark Tunnel by Cerulean was caused by one of these birds, as well as a kind of glacial build-up by Cinnabar Island. And while Roxas is intrigued, his overall thoughts are that power plant is like over by the water, so he doesn't want to go there. And then there's also the Seafoam Islands that again just means more surfing, and even though Roxas, you know, will feel safe and capable with Splishy bringing him to Cinnabar, he just doesn't want to go any further than that. And that's just basically our hydrophobic rules having to come into play there. And here we have another encounter, and this basically, you know, some of you might get a bit narky in the comments, but I actually captured a Fearow as an encounter up by the Snorlax. I amn't taking that as an encounter, which means I should have actually gotten a Doduo as that other encounter instead of Fearow. So I'm just taking this encounter now, but I am then leaving the cycling road area as free for an encounter. Just FYI, if I end up going and needing like a Ponyta or what have you. Doduo, the twin bird Pokemon. Its short wings make flying difficult. Instead, this Pokemon runs at high speed on developed legs. So we call Doduo Duet because it has 2 heads, and both of them like singing in harmony. And probably Harmony would have been a better name, considering it's about to have 3 heads if we go through there. But I'm looking at the stats of my Pokemon, guys, and I'm just nervous. And basically, going into the Pokemon gym here and teaching Chrysalis Psychic, I thought that maybe Ninetales could learn Psychic. It can't in Gen 1. So that was a bit of a pain. But then I thought, okay, no, it's fine. We'll just make Chrysalis an absolute poison killing machine. It can go up against coughing and wheezing and all those. It'll be resisting the poison attacks, it'll be immune to the normal attacks, and it can do super effective damage to psychic attacks. We've basically made him, you know, the poison killer. But we enter into a battle there and I'm like, ooh, 34. Oh, that's a bit of a jump. Bit of a jump, like what my other Pokemon, like Huntress is 36, so like I could go there with Huntress, but I'm like, oh right, well look at Splishy's fully evolved, this is a Drowsy. And then I'm like, oh yeah, this is like their whole gimmick, they like switch a lot. But obviously Kadabra is a bit of a glass cannon, so this again is where strength is going to come in wonderfully. One hit KO, 1000 EXP, absolutely fantastic. We're going to just hit again with strength, and Drowsy's a bit more physically tanky, but with a critical hit from a powerful move from a Gyarados, yeah, there was no surviving a critical anyway. So Roxas enters, and there's a bunch of different ninjas, and they're basically impressing that, you know, strength on its own isn't what's going to, you know, win you a match. And this particular juggler only has one Pokeball. And because there's only one Pokemon, he has focus trained his Hypno, which is now nearly level 40. And Roxas just looks in fear at this Pokemon that's even stronger than his strongest Pokemon, and is now blasted with Psychic Energy, the most powerful psychic attack in the game. And he now realizes, oh, actually, Huntress could die from this. So it is literally a roll of the dice now. If it had gone for Psychic again, we would have been in massive, massive trouble. And now it's the case where we bring in Splishy, we try and pivot, we try and improvise, but again, Splishy is picked up even in its enormous size and flung across the gym. It does, you know, survive it that little bit better just from its sheer bulk. But again, if it had been two Psychics, we would have been in massive trouble. And I just have to weigh up the options, and I click Dragon Rage. No, I click Strength. I was debating, is 40 enough? And I was like, I would not forgive myself if I used a set damage move and it was just slightly too much. But yeah, this is where Roxas really has that moment of, I need to go back, I need to go to the wilds, go back to the training on the routes, and basically train up, because I am too weak at this moment in time. You know, he's taken on Team Rocket, he's kind of gotten a bit big for his britches. He kind of thinks he's absolutely brilliant and God's gift to Pokemon, but, you know, one trainer with just one solitarily well-trained Pokemon that's hyper over-leveled in comparison to his team, it can just start knocking down Pokemon like pins with a bowling ball. And, you know, at this point in the game, we have finally stabilized. There is no reason to lose Gyarados or lose, you know, Haunter, lose... Oh, I mean, especially Vulpix. Like, if something happened to Vulpix before I finally got it to Ninetales, after all the work we put into it, it would have been absolutely super frustrating. But here's just an example of where even against, you know, once it has a poison type, but like nearly all the grass types are grass poison. And then since Haunter is also poison, it then resists grass. So again, it's just showing this is now Haunter's niche. It's to go up against the special attackers, the part poison types, and just absolutely wreck them. He can also go up against fighting types if Huntress gets a bit low. So again, it's just all easy, breezy, beautiful strategies here. But even when it's just a singular ghost type, we can just use Nightshade, and that's going to do a bit less than Dragon Rage, admittedly. But the more levels we get Chrysalis, the more powerful Nightshade can be, and I can envision that getting up to like the 50s or 60s, and then you just have a set 60 damage move, even if they're bulking up with amnesias and things like that. But again, this is what's so funny. Bind will happen, it will do no damage, but you'll be kept in the bind even though it's doing no damage because you're immune. It's just a silly quirk of Gen 1. And I'm sure if you went back over the history of the series, there's probably many a time that I've said, this is just a fun quirk of Gen 1. I thought that if you played the Pokeflute outside of battle, it would act as an AoE awakening. It doesn't. Don't judge me. I was wrong. We're moving on. We're fighting the next beauty. And this is finally where Flare starts to just hold her own in a fight. We get the Confuse Ray and we start embering and we're like, listen, we are going to take this down. We are super effective. We resist its attacks. We have a high special. We should be well able to beat this 1v1. But just, again, I've kind of given the warning before, but just to say it again, we are going to be having a level jump. We are going to be getting all of these Pokemon to the early 40s in between episodes. I just made the executive decision to cut out the grinding so we can at least go story beat by story beat fairly concisely, one after the other. And, you know, fight Koga, fight Blaine, fight Sabrina, fight Giovanni, get the rival, and, you know, just have some semblance of, you know, a quick succession of things that are happening. Another forewarning, since we're fighting the starters here, I end up collecting the starter Pokemon next episode after, or not, maybe not the next episode, the episode afterwards. I end up collecting all the starters because I basically reanimate the Ammonite. So I reanimate the Ammonite, and then and then just to have backup, because again, it's like I don't want to get to the stage where I've 5 badges in, and some disastrous self-destruct or something takes out some Pokemon that I had in for whatever reason, and now I have to pivot and figure something else out. It's like, no, I would rather just have the 3 starters as just HM users, or, you know, a pivot to have something strong, because by hook or by crook we are finishing this Nuzlocke, and I want the unique story that we've been kind of gathering together with the Roxas being connected to Team Rocket and his father having been part of the Mewtwo experiments. Like, I want to kind of finish out this series with a bang, with a good story. And again, I just didn't want the team just to look like nearly every single yellow team, which is just Red's team of Pikachu, Snorlax, Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise, and Lapras, you know? Or like maybe like a Haunter, or, you know, like I just wanted it to be unique, that we're using unique fire, water, grass types. And like that, like at this stage, it's so funny because it's like, is Victory Bell even that useful? Like, grass is good against rock and water types, and we have electric and water to cover both those strengths. So like, could I just switch out Victory Bell for Wigglytuff, who is just adorable and I love her? Maybe. Like, realistically, it's like, because we have another poison type in Haunter, so like, yeah, it's an option. And I don't think we need Cut for anything else, really. But as you guys can see, Flare is working hard to like fight this Oddish. Super tough fight, because grass types will just poison and whittle you down. But as I say, when in doubt, just use Fly, go back, heal up, and start again. There's absolutely no shame in just taking the time to just heal up, get rid of the poison, etc, etc. But here we have not an ideal matchup, but we'll just get Pikachu back in and we'll start lashing out the Thunderbolts just to get them finished with. Like, I know it's Gen 1. I know that there's only a certain amount of Pokemon, but like, do we have to have another trainer with Pidgeys and Pidgeotos? Could we not have had, like, you know, just something else? Like, I don't know, like a Krabby and, like, a Staryu or something. I don't know. A Psyduck and Krabby or something. You know, like, just more varied water types and whatnot. I'm not sure. But I am going to have to apologize. I kind of mute the music for a little bit. So there is nothing wrong with your video. There's nothing wrong with YouTube. But again, Pidgeotto again. Like, oh my god. Can we just be a bit original, please? Like, let's just have something else to, you know, flog as a challenging Pokemon, please. But that's the one thing. Pikachu is a glass cannon, but like it's a little Speedy Gonzalez. And we have me talking about Wigglytuff, and like here is a trainer with a Wigglytuff. Absolutely amazing. The one thing is we don't have like a fighting type move anymore. Nidoqueen would have always been like our... Nidoqueen would have always been our go-to for fighting type moves, so since we don't have that, it's now sort of a little bit tricky to deal with big tanky walls like Wigglytuff or things like that. Like we could just switch over to Haunter, but when they're really strong, especially defensive and lots of high HP, it's like Nightshade won't do that much. Psychic mightn't do that much, so it all depends. It'll all just depend. But look at we have Splishy here, and now he's been disabled, but we're going to just power through and use our strength to overpower. But that's pretty much been the episode, guys, and next episode, yeah, we're going to really see kind of a lot of growth and a lot of progression. We're going to get a new badge. So I am just super excited, but will we get a new badge without a new casualty? We'll have to see next time on our Pokemon adventure. Have a good one.